We can get into Boston College.
Absolutely. Let's look at they were terrible last year. Now we know that they're beat up by injuries. Okay. They're 123rd in the country in points per game offensively. Yikes. How about
Bad.
how about 31 and a half points per game allowed? Yikes. That's bad. How about running the ball? They're the worst in the country. 2 yards per carry. Bad. Bad, bad, bad. Who do they lose? Phil Jerkovich. They lose Say Flowers to the NFL. Um, and they get back like a lot of the players that they had last year, and they had a transfer, Kari Johnson. They had a transfer, I know Keith. I mean, they added some guys, but their over under win total sitting at 5.5. CD, where are you? Where are you on this over under? Oh, hold on. See, these Mike just gave out a little bit. I will give you what I think at this 5.5 is they're not making a bowl game. It's soaring under for me. And now, if you look at the schedule, okay, if you take the average power rating, right, of these teams that they're playing in their schedule, right, it is the by far the easiest schedule in Power Five. By far the easiest. Get absolute cupcakes for out of conference, and you don't draw Clemson in conference, right? So that's a big deal. But man, they just look. They lost their left tackle, left guard, right guard, all within 3 weeks of the season last year. They still managed to win 3 games. But I don't know that this team actually improved all that much in offensive line. Like at the beginning of the year, they weren't even that good. They weren't that good either, right? Now you get another year with a lot of these guys. I do think their tackles have a lot of size. Get a 6'7", 6'8" guys there on the outside. Maybe they're going to hold up in the ACC. Got a couple big time defensive ends in this conference. Emmett Morehead at quarterback. That is a big drop off from Phil Jerkovich. It's a big drop off. Now, do I hate Emmett Morehead? I don't. I don't hate him. I actually kind of liked what I saw when I was watching, but he looked fine in the spring game. But when he played last year, when he had time, which he never did, he was okay. He was on time, but there's no focal point in this offense. Like, who are they going to get the ball to? Who?
It'll be that. Sorry, my mic's back. Hopefully, it'll be the transfer Ryan O'Keefe from UCF. That's a big get for them. He was very productive in the American last year. Obviously, I think the offense it might just be better by default. It's going to be worse in terms of the actual talent and playmakers on the team. Phil Jerkovich, like you said, Emmett Morehead is a step down talent wise, but Emmett Morehead is going to have a better year than Jerkovich because that O line hopefully is going to theoretically will be healthy this year. And yes, they weren't very good even when they were healthy, whatever. But there's something to say about continuity and getting better over a 12-game stretch with the 5 guys you're playing against. And what's nice about it is they do have a lot of depth, quote unquote depth in terms of experience because they had all those injuries. So people had to step up, some young guys that were not ready, that probably still aren't ready, but they'll be a year better of experience in the ACC if they do have to step in and play. But yeah,
Well, let's not mistake experience though for talent, right? I mean, yeah, sure, they're deep in terms of like experience, which normally correlates to talent. Well, sometimes it does, but I don't think it correlates to talent in this instance right here. I don't think it correlates to talent. I think like if they start dropping guys in the offensive line again, like it's also going to be another poop show. It's going to be another poop show. I mean, what they got 2 transfers in there, which is kind of nice to see. I like Logan Taylor. Kyle Hergel's pretty decent, but they might both be starting on this offensive line, but I don't know.
yeah. I mean, again, like I meant to say it earlier, but my mic cut out. I'm gonna lean under on this 5.5 team. I do like Jeff Halfley. I do root for Boston College all the time. But they were 3-9 last year, and I don't see 3 more wins of improvement this year. I think they could look better. Their schedule isn't terrible. We'll get into that later. But the offense just had no chance at all last year with all the injuries. And then defensively, I wouldn't say that they gave up on the offense, but the offense did not do any of them any favors. And yes, they were 102nd last year, but it was because they were on the field so much. And then with that, the injuries set in. And so, I mean, it was just tough. It was very tough.
Yeah, I
I still
agree.
don't think they're gonna win 6 games though.
Look, what I will credit them defensively, I think Jeff Halfley like knows like what kind of talent he wants in defense. The DBs are big. They're large. Look, you got
Long, very long
6'2",
playmakers.
6'4", 6'2", 6 foot, right? Like those are big. Those are big. Now that doesn't still got to be a good athlete, right? You lose a guy like Josh DeBerry to A&M, but you bring in Kari Johnson from Arkansas, who adds some zest to that secondary. Hopefully, if he plays, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that. They're trying out a lot of stuff in spring right now. We'll see what sticks come time in the fall, but I don't think this defense is going to improve all that much either. Like, do we look like they brought in a couple transfers on the defensive line, George Rooks, Caleb Jones. Is that going to translate? Like they were a bottom 40 team in defense easily in the country last year. The run defense was horrendous. Now they actually had some good secondary play last year. I thought their stats reflect that. I mean, passing yards per game. Now, here's the thing though. Were teams passing the ball a lot in Boston College? No, maybe not.
They
But
didn't have to.
they didn't
They
have
got up
to.
early and then they just milked the clock because they knew that Boston College had no chance. Not only could they not run the ball, so teams because their offense line was terrible, so teams could just tee off on their poor running backs. I mean, yes, I don't know how good Pat Garrow really is, but it doesn't matter. He had no chance to start anyways, and then they could just tee off on them offensively. So then, I would like we said about like I talked about earlier, the defense was just put in a bad position. But yes, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
they still weren't great in general. It's Boston College, okay. This is not
Yeah.
Clemson or Florida State here.
Yeah. It's weird to say though, because we're saying like, oh yeah, they could improve, but let's hit the under. Well, you're leaning under. I'm hitting this under for sure. For
That's
sure.
that's a play for you, right? You're gonna back that up, right?
That's a play for me. That's absolutely a play. And it's at even right now. It's at even. Under 5.5 is even. So it's a DraftKings anyway. So wherever you guys make sure you guys are if you're shopping lines, right, make sure you're shopping at different places. Make sure you're getting the best value. So look at their schedule. Why did I say that there was such an easy schedule? In fact, the easiest in Power Five. Um, NIU week 1, Holy Cross week 2, right? Obviously, then they get FSU at home and they go to Louisville, Virginia. But then what's weird is that they get their out of conference games kind of in the middle of the season there. Army and Connecticut, week 6 at Army, week 9, they host Connecticut. So that out of conference schedule is just absolutely it's a cakewalk. People talk
You
about the
have to go
SEC.
4-0. If you're gonna make a bowl game this year, if you're gonna hit that over on the win total, you have to go 4-0 and then
Right.
sneak 2 wins out
Right.
against Virginia, maybe Georgia Tech, although I'm higher on Georgia Tech than some people are. Virginia Tech, you get Syracuse. So like there are wins to be had there, but I don't see it, and I know you don't either.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I think a lot of people that are playing the over on this are just looking at the schedule, licking their chops. But I think it's like, here's the thing. A lot of these teams can change, right? Some teams get better. Some teams get worse as the season goes on. If I think Boston College is not going to get better or if they're not going to be that good, you got to account for that variance of other teams getting better, right? Like what if Virginia Tech is better than we think that they are, right?
They have the same win total, by the way, with a harder schedule too.
Yes.
And
So like what if Army all of a sudden is pretty good? I mean, I don't anticipate
even if
that.
even if they're not good, that's still hard to go week 6 in the middle of, at the end of your tough stretch with 6 games in a row after getting beat up by Florida State and Louisville, and then you get Virginia at home, which say what you want about them, and then to play that triple option offense in Army, it's still tough. I know teams are moving away from, or I think Army is moving a little bit away from that triple option all the time, but it's still like it's not easy midweek to play them, especially if you're not accustomed to playing a couple triple option teams on your schedule anyways.
Yes. I like getting the buy after that though. I like hitting the reset button after playing that ground and pound team, but I just don't see it. Defensively, it's like, yeah, their secondary might be pretty decent, but can Donovan Syracuse, can he do it all? I don't know.